Nick DiGiovanni gained 22 million subscribers in only 4 years and averages 5 to 10 million views a video, which, if you haven't noticed already, not a lot of YouTubers are even able to do that. And the strategy that Nick uses to do this is actually genius. But before we can see how Nick is currently cooking on YouTube, we first need to see how Nick started doing YouTube in the first place, because he uploaded his first ever YouTube video right after he got eliminated from this game show called MasterChef. Ever heard of it? This is a show where talented chefs compete against one another. The thing was that Nick got eliminated right before he had the chance to make his dessert, and he had actually planned to make a pretty cool dessert. So he was kind of bummed that he didn't get to show it to the world. So he simply just decided to go home and make a YouTube video showcasing what he would have made if he didn't get eliminated. This video actually ended up picking up a bit of traction, because people were genuinely curious to see what he would have made. So Nick decided to post a few more videos because the first one did well, so why not? But these videos didn't do nearly as well as the first one. In fact, they barely got any views. Again, the reason that the first one did well was because people were genuinely curious to see what he would have made. But after that, they didn't really care anymore. So Nick decided that this YouTube thing probably wasn't for him, so he decided to give up for now. Until around 2020, something started happening. Everyone was suddenly trapped inside with nothing to do. So with nothing to do, Nick decided to post a TikTok where he fed his hamster a gourmet meal. This was just a fun little interesting video. So interesting, in fact, that it ended up getting around 1 million views. So Nick decided to post more TikToks of him cooking things that he thought were cool, including a few more gourmet meals for the hamster. And due to the fact that it was during lockdown, so views were all inflated across social media, and these videos actually being pretty good, Nick started gaining a decent audience on TikTok. And since his TikTok was doing so well, he decided to give YouTube a second chance. But this time he was going to do YouTube Shorts. In fact, the shorts that Nick was posting were just mostly his TikToks being re-uploaded. He was posting around 1 short a day, and these shorts were actually growing his channel pretty fast. In fact, just a year after him posting his first ever short, he had grown his channel to 4 million subscribers and 1.5 billion views. And there are many things that went into him having this level of success. But I'm going to tell you what I think are the 2 most important things that went into him going viral. One is simply because the food that he cooks in his videos always looks interesting, weird, or delicious. And Nick always makes sure that the first frame in his shorts are him holding up this interesting food item. This is extremely important because shorts don't have thumbnails. So the first frame of a short has to essentially act like the thumbnail because that's the first thing that a viewer sees. Also, having Nick's face in the first frame of a short is great branding because it immediately assures viewers that they're on a Nick DiGiovanni video. Reason number 2 of how Nick's shorts do so well is because the loops in his shorts are actually genius. A lot of shorts creators loop their shorts by saying something like, "and that's why," and the short goes back to the beginning and says the hook, something like, "crabs are actually stronger than humans," and this will give the illusion that the short hasn't ended, therefore giving the creator higher retention. In my opinion, these loops are pretty easy to spot and aren't that effective. But Nick loops his shorts in such a way that you almost have to keep watching, because as you're watching a Nick DiGiovanni short, you're watching him cook food and waiting to see the finished product, the payoff. So once you get to the end, Nick shows you the finished product, but he always continues to show you the finished product through the loop, which helps increase retention. And to this day, Nick still uses the "let's cook blank" format simply because it's such a good format.
Let's make ratatouille. Let's make brownies from a cacao pod. Let's make crispy garlic chips. Let's make garlic toast. Let's make crispy skinned salmon.
Another shorts format that Nick used to help him gain hundreds of millions of views was the format where he would play a second of another person's video and he would do whatever they did inside of the clip, which was normally cooking something in an interesting way. But the thing is that these clips aren't random. These are actually videos that have done extremely well. In other words, outliers. You're gonna hear me talk about those a lot in this video. Here's an example of what I mean. Look at this video that Nick recently uploaded about flying noodles where he used one of those clips that I was talking about. Well, that clip was actually from a short that ended up getting 140 million views. And it was actually the most viewed video on that guy's channel. So judging by the fact that this video did so well, we can assume that people really liked it. So YouTube decided to push out the video to more people. And since people liked it so much, Nick decided to make a video about it on his own channel. And let me just say that people really underestimate the power of outliers. Not just for shorts, but for long form. In fact, they help me a ton when I come up with video ideas, because I can see what ideas have already worked well on YouTube. And I recently started using this really cool software that helps me easily find outliers all over YouTube. It's called 1 of 10. Let me give you a bit of a rundown on how it works. All you need to do is put in your filters. So I want to find videos that are over 3x outliers, meaning that I want to find videos that have performed 3 times better than the channel's average. And you can mess with a ton of other stats, but I'm not really gonna mess with those at the moment. Let's say that I'm trying to come up with ideas for a camping channel. Then we hit enter, and now we have a ton of camping outliers to take inspiration from. And here's actually another cool feature that I recently started using a ton. If you see a thumbnail that you really like while you're searching for an outlier, you can hit the similar thumbnails button and it'll show you similar thumbnails that have also performed as outliers. So you can find out if it was the thumbnail that made the video do well or if it was some other variable. YouTube is hard, but it truly becomes easier with 1 of 10. So make sure that you click the link in the description and use code TREE to get 50% off. And thank you to 1 of 10 for sponsoring this video. Anyways, Nick wanted to start focusing more on long form content because, well, it pays better, and it's a lot easier to build a brand with long form. He was already dabbling with long form as he was doing shorts, and although they were getting views, they weren't getting nearly the amount of views that he wanted to get. You see, this thing actually happens a lot to shorts creators where they blow up on shorts, but they aren't really able to continue their success over to long form. But this never really happened to Nick. Nick pretty much right out of the gate started cooking with long form. And the reason for this is actually quite simple, and it took me a long time to find out. Sticking to a niche on YouTube is overpowered. In other words, it's a lot easier to grow on YouTube if you're making videos for one specific audience rather than trying to go for the widest audience as possible. But why is this? Well, YouTube, or the YouTube algorithm, is constantly trying to find the correct audience for a video. It's always looking to connect a viewer to the perfect video for them. So if you make videos for just one audience, you make it easier for YouTube to connect your videos to an audience that will enjoy it. Nick, the entire time that he had this YouTube channel, always stuck to the same audience. People who enjoyed food and liked to cook. So it was super easy for YouTube to find the correct audience for his long form. But the thing is, you can't just get views by having a niche alone. Sure, it's overpowered to have a niche on YouTube these days, but you still won't succeed if you don't know what you're doing. So what else did Nick do that made him become so successful with his long form content, you may ask? Well, one thing that he did was started transferring outliers from other niches into the cooking niche. Now, if you weren't paying attention earlier, an outlier is a video that performs extremely well for a channel. So judging by this being an outlier, we can assume that people really liked something about this video. And most of the time it's the idea, the title, or the thumbnail. So we could essentially take what worked with this video and transfer it over to our videos. And you could actually see this happen all across YouTube with videos like The History of the World, I Guess, Ryan Tran's 1-star hotel video, or Mark Rober's space egg drop video. Even MrBeast himself uses outliers to come up with ideas. Nick started using outliers from other niches and turning them into food-related videos. For example, this format where he created the world's largest foods, that was a format that he took from Matthew Beam, and Matthew Beam took it from Mark Rober. Or maybe the video where he sent a slice of pizza to space and then ate it. That's literally an outlier from the egg drop video I showed you earlier. And even the video where he tested 1-star kitchen gadgets, Ryan Trahan. But let me get something straight here. This isn't stealing. This is Nick simply taking what works and transferring it over to his niche to create a completely new idea. And this is why something like 1 of 10 is so important. Because no matter what niche you're in, you're going to need to look at outliers and videos that have done well. So click the link in the description and use code TREE to get one of 10 for 50% off. Anyways, now Nick was one of the largest YouTubers on the platform. So where do you go from here? He had already built up a great fan base from both long form and short form content, so there was really nothing left to do. Nothing left to do but build a company. Not just for monetization purposes, but because Nick is really passionate about cooking, and he wanted to sell high quality products that would help other people cook. Now, a lot of people don't know this, but building a successful creator company or brand is just as hard as creating a successful YouTube channel, even if you already have the audience for a product. And a lot of people don't know this and immediately start jumping into selling products after their channel starts doing well, not knowing exactly what they're getting themselves into. In my opinion, there's 3 major things that a creator needs to consider when launching a product. One is, will this product be a good fit for my audience? For example, if you have a channel about fitness, you don't want to sell them ice cream sandwiches. It just doesn't make sense. You would want to look more on the healthy side of things. Maybe a protein bar or something. 2 is that you need to see if your product's able to create repeat customers. For example, if you sell a backpack as a product, someone would only need to buy one backpack from you. And if it's a good backpack, they hopefully don't need to buy another. And this is why a ton of creators are starting to sell food and beverage products these days. It's because if you consume that product, you need to go back to the store to buy more of it, creating a repeat customer. But food and beverage products isn't the only way to create repeat customers. Mark Rober has created a great business off of his channel called Crunch Labs. This is a monthly subscription science kit that you get in the mail. And since it's monthly, Mark is able to get those reoccurring customers without selling food or beverage products. 3 is that the product needs to be able to survive on its own. For example, if Nick's channel were to stop getting views tomorrow, or if Nick decides to quit YouTube for good, will his product and company be able to live on for years to come? I think that the creator brand that's been able to do this the best is Prime. Because although here on YouTube we know that KSI and Logan Paul own Prime, a lot of people still buy Prime without knowing who Logan Paul or KSI is. The brand has outgrown the creators, and this was very intentional by Logan Paul and KSI. This is why they didn't call it the Logan Paul and KSI drink, because the company would essentially be limited by them as creators. Anyways, so what in the world did Nick start selling? Well, it was salt. High quality salt, to be exact. And this was actually the perfect product for Nick to sell, because it's just such a great fit for his audience. If you watch Nick's videos, you're probably already into cooking, and his videos will just more so create that drive for you to want to cook something. So whenever you go to the grocery store to buy ingredients, you're more than likely to purchase Osmo. Osmo is the name of his salt brand, by the way. Osmo also has good enough branding that it could theoretically live on its own. Nick has said that only a small portion of his revenue comes from Osmo, but the company is still fairly new and it's in its growth phase. So they're investing a lot of money back into it. But I'm sure in a few years that Osmo is going to become a massive brand. Anyways, don't forget to click the link in the description and use code TREE to get one of 10 for 50% off. Take my word for it, it's actually a super helpful tool. And please subscribe if you haven't already. We are literally at the halfway point to 100,000 subscribers. I also just started a Discord server, so click the link in the description if you want to be one of the first people to join. Anyways, bye!